Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom, a workbook and study guide for Ayurvedic and Yogic living by Christie Smirl. Disclaimer. The book Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom is not intended to treat, diagnose, or prescribe. The information contained in this book is not considered a substitute for medical evaluation or medical care. This book is for educational purposes. Do not perform any of the procedures or practices contained within this book without trained professional consultation and supervision. Dedication. This book is dedicated to Vaidya Jayagopal Parla and Vaidya Anupama. Thank you for guiding Ayurveda into the United States, into accredited universities, and into my life. Thank you for your inspiration, dedication, and mentorship in the sciences of Ayurveda and Yoga. I am in deepest gratitude. Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom is also dedicated to all the previous scholars, teachers, sages, and saints who have preserved and transported the knowledge of life through the sciences of Ayurveda and Yoga into the current age. About this book. Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom is designed as a study guide for the sciences of Ayurveda and Yoga. Both ancient systems facilitate true prosperity via the embodiment of health and wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This book is organized to help systematically explain the roots of disease, manifestation, and how to rectify imbalances through the lenses of Ayurveda and Yoga. Discover Ayurvedic fundamental anatomy, physiology, and physics. Take quizzes and explore worksheets and illustrations to navigate and select Ayurvedic lifestyles, nutritional guidelines, to figure out the correct circadian system and seasonal observances, as well as yogic philosophies and practices. History and origins of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the eternal knowledge of life. The word Ayurveda is derived from two roots, Ayu, Ayu, and Veda, V-E-D-A. Ayu is the span of life from birth to death. Veda means science or light that illuminates the body, mind, and spirit. As the traditional system of medicine, Ayurveda clearly defines what is beneficial and harmful to human life. Ayurveda describes how to remain balanced through the three phases of life, through differing climates and seasons, as well as how to balance through the times of day. The primary goal of Ayurveda is to illuminate full spectrum health and harmony with nature and within, with each person's physical, pranic, and mental spiritual channels. Ayurveda originated from the Vedas, ancient texts that expound upon spiritual health and Sanatana Dharma, which is also known as the eternal order or eternal path. The Vedas are the oldest written texts in the world. There are 4 Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. Ayurveda is a Upa Veda of the Atharva Veda. The widespread practice of Ayurveda emerged from the Indus Valley in 17,000 BC. This traditional health science is still widely practiced through India, as well as worldwide in hospitals, Ayurvedic universities, ashrams, and wellness centers. Lord Brahma taught Ayurveda to Daksha Prajapati, who taught the Ashvini Kumara twins, who taught Lord Indra. Lord Indra taught Ayurveda to Lord Dhanvantari, who taught Sushruta. Lord Indra taught Bharadvaja, who taught Punarvasu, and Atreya and Agnira. Atreya taught Agnivesha, who authored Agnivesha Samhita, edited by Charaka. Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita are two of the foremost respected medical reference texts in Ayurveda. Each chapter lays out clear methods to prevent disease, to create detoxification, rejuvenation, and to restore health. The texts of Ayurveda clearly outline how to liberate the body, mind, and spiritual sheaths from suffering and bondage. Another goal of Ayurveda is to restore and maintain life that is energetic, strong, confident, youthful, and peaceful. Therapeutics are directed at healing the root cause of physical and psychological ailments. Measurements are taken to rejuvenate and purify the sense organs, motor organs, mind channels, and subtle body sheaths. Treatments include nutritional customization, lifestyle observances including yoga, philosophies of yamas and niyamas, yoga calisthenics, pranayama, mantra, subtle therapies, and meditation. Ayurveda grants liberation from exogenous and endogenous sources of imbalance and disease. Ayurveda is a complete and comprehensive system of health with well-structured and long-standing traditional schools. In India, there are full-size, full-service Ayurvedic hospitals. There are distinct branches and divisions of Ayurvedic knowledge and application. Divisions of Ayurveda. There's Kaya Chikitsa, known as internal medicine, Bala Chikitsa, pediatric medicine, Shalya Chikitsa, surgical medicine, Urdhvanga Chikitsa, head, ears, eyes, nose, throat medicine, Damshtra Chikitsa, toxicology medicine, Graha Chikitsa and Bhuta Vidya, psychiatry medicine and demonology, Jwara Chikitsa and Rasayana, rejuvenative medicine and geriatrics, as well as Vrusha Chikitsa, sexology medicine and fertility. According to Ayurveda, life is a constant and continuous balance and interfacing between the body, sense organs, karma organs, mind, the environment, as well as the inner landscape and soul. Ayurveda teaches how to live in harmony throughout the time of day, changing outer seasons, and evolving life phases. Ayurveda finds and treats the root cause and imbalances inside the mind, body, or spirit, then utilizes corrective diet, lifestyle, detoxification, and rejuvenation. Health, according to Ayurveda, is a dance between time, doshas, dhatus, malas, mind, sense organs, lifestyle, and nutrition. Disease is due to incompatible conditions. Ayurveda provides clear guidelines on how to live a harmonious, healthy, and happy life by explaining what is wholesome versus unwholesome, joyous versus sorrowful, auspicious versus inauspicious in relationship to human life. In combination with the sister science of yoga, Ayurveda teaches each person self-realization and emancipation from suffering. Macrocosm and microcosm of Ayurveda. Understanding the foundations and physics of Ayurveda is key for logical assessments between the outer world and inner world. The macrocosmic environment directly influences living beings physically, mentally, and spiritually. The three great macrocosmic forces are prana, light, and cohesion, manifested as the sun, the moon, and wind. The sun is heating, life-sustaining, transformative energy, yang energy, solar energy. The sun is required for life on Earth, but in perfect balance. Inadequate sun stunts life sustainability. Too much solar energy causes dryness, burning, blistering, and destruction. Inside the microcosm of the body, the sun is reflected as the biological dosha called pitta. Pitta is primarily responsible for body temperature, metabolism, and digestion. However, too much pitta inside the body will also burn and destroy tissues. The second macrocosmic influence comes from the moon, which is cooling, stabilizing, unctuous, yin energy, and lunar energy. The moon controls water levels and tides. Too much lunar energy can cause swelling, flooding, high tides, congestion, elevated internal pressures, and emotional disturbances. If the tides are too low, there's dryness and exposure. Inside the body, there's a bodily dosha called kapha, and it reflects the same qualities of the moon inside the human body. The third element of the macrocosm is wind, prana, or vayu. Wind is needed to maintain all proper movement internally and externally. Without wind, staleness, stagnancy, and inertia forms. However, too much wind causes windstorms, disorder, desiccation, dryness, and destruction. The same applies to the wind principle inside the body, known as vata. All three forces, the sun, the moon, and wind in the macrocosm, need to be balanced internally in the microcosm as kapha, pitta, and vata. These are all intertwined with the functions, qualities, and eternal karmas of the five great spirits that populate the inner and outer worlds, the micro and macrocosm. Panchamahabhutas, the five great elements. The Panchamahabhuta are known as the five great elements. Each need to be understood to comprehend the karmas and internal biology of the three doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. All objects and bodies of living creatures originate from the Panchamahabhuta, or five great spirits, which are earth, water, fire, air, and space. Each element has a predictable set of qualities called gunas. These characteristics explain their karma and physiology inside and outside of the body. The first element is akasha, or space. This element is minute, soft, porous, spacious, light, and cold. The second element is vayu, or wind, which is cold, dry, roughening, mobile, clear, and light. The third element is teja, or pitta, associated with the sun. It is hot, transforming, light, sharp, lustrous, and clear. The fourth is water, also known as ap or jala. Water is wet, cold, slow, unifying, soft, unctuous, and liquid. The fifth element is prithvi, or earth. Earth is dense, heavy, hard, stable, and slow. Doshas, the three biological humors. Ayurveda makes most evaluations and recommendations based on the status of a person's three doshas. The three doshas are called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Doshas are biological humors, forces that govern all physiological functions of the body. The tri-doshas must be balanced to maintain health. Accumulated or aggressive doshas can cause devastation and disease. Insufficient Vata, Pitta, or Kapha doshas cause weakness and imbalances. Each dosha is composed of a combination of two of the five Panchamahabhutas, a combination of either earth, water, fire, air, or space. Pitta is composed of fire and water elements. These fire and water qualities make Pitta internally heating, transforming, penetrating, light, viscous, and fluid-like. Vata is composed of air and space elements. Therefore, Vata is cooling, dry, roughening, mobile, light, and minute. Kapha is water and earth elements combined. Therefore, Kapha exhibits characteristics that are binding, heavy, stable, slow, and thick. Each dosha has a very specific function in overall mental and spiritual health. Balancing them is crucial for longevity and vitality. This section is on Kapha. Kapha is the biological humor made of earth and water. Kapha is binding, unifying, heavy, cool, slow, and stable, hence responsible for biological stabilization, covering, lubrication, grounding, endurance, and strength. Kapha supports the head, neck, sense organs, thorax, chest, heart, and lungs. Kapha supports digestion by moisturizing, moistening, and protecting the mouth, tongue, stomach, and intestines. Kapha lubricates, provides unctuousness, support, and strength to the joints, ligaments, tendons, fascia, and muscles. Kapha provides structure and stability to the myelin sheaths and nervous system. Kapha also promotes sexual potency, virility, youthfulness, ojas, fortitude, and longevity. A shloka for Kapha is Snigdha, Shita, Guru Manda, Slakshna, Mritsna, Stira Kapha. Kapha is Guru, heavy, Shita, cold, Snigdha, unctuous, Manda, slow, Stira, stable, and Slakshna, jelly-like. Kapha provides comfort, contentment, and calmness. Mentally, this dosha creates character stability, calmness of the mind, emotional grounding, and improved mental functioning, better memory, better stress resilience, a peacefulness as well as anti-aging support and healthy nourishment to the astral sheaths. Kapha supports a healthy immune system as well as mental and physical endurance. In proper quantities, kapha becomes ojas, soma, the elixir and sustainer of life. There are 5 subdoshas to kapha. The first is avalambaka kapha. Avalambaka supports the head, heart, lungs, and thorax structures. Avalambaka kapha also supports the myocardium, alveoli, pleural fluids, pericardial fluids around the heart, mucus, plasma, and serous fluids. The second subdosha of kapha is kledaka kapha. Kledaka kapha supports the stomach and intestines with moisturization and lubrication throughout the entire gastric system. The third subdosha of kapha is called bodhaka kapha. Bodhaka kapha moistens the oral cavity and assists with the sense of taste, moistening food by the formation of saliva. Next, there is tarpaka kapha. Tarpaka kapha is located in the head. It supports the cerebral spinal fluid, the interstitial brain fluids, the aqueous humor, and it lubricates the sense organs. The fifth subdosha of kapha is shleshaka kapha. Shleshaka kapha lubricates the joints and supports healthy skeletal structure and bursa. Here are the signs and symptoms of abnormally accumulated kapha. Excess truncal fat, excess visceral fat, a fatty liver, swelling, puffiness, water retention, water distension, lymphedema. Other signs of accumulated and excess kapha are abnormal growths, polyps, tumors, cysts, plaques, fibroids, and lipomas. Excess kapha will cause mucus, congestion, and swelling within the head, eyes, ears, nose, throat, and chest. There's a digestive imbalance called Manda Agni. Manda Agni is due to excessive kapha in the digestive system. And this is characterized by slow digestion, indigestion, mucoid or thick, slow, or sticky stools. Excess kapha in the body is also shown by thick, whitish coating on the tongue swelling with teeth indents. It can manifest as yeast infections, fungal or bacterial overgrowth, or frequent infections. Too much kapha in the system can cause one to feel tired and lazy and fatigued and sad and dreepy, reclusive and unmotivated, foggy and slow thinking with slow learning and depressed mood. People will feel lethargic, apathetic, or sometimes clingy and needy and hoarding uninspired and uninspiring. Excess kapha can cause thickening of the skin and thickening of the hair, feeling heavy, weight gain, obesity, type 2 diabetes, as well as high cholesterol. This section is on ojas. Ojas is kapha functioning at its best. Ojas is pure white with a red tinge. It is unctuous, sweet tasting, sweet smelling. Ojas is mild, cooling, nourishing, moist, stable, soft, and covering, much like kapha. The function of ojas is to maintain life, contentment, growth, stability, strength, resilience, rejuvenation, and immunity. Poor ojas yields sickness, weakness, immature aging, depression, anxiety, crying, low energy, low motivation, and lack of personality luster. The first source of ojas is at birth. This ojas is called para ojas, and it originates from the parents. The maximum para ojas at birth is 8 drops. Once depleted, it can't be replenished. Para ojas keeps prana, life force, at the center of the body and heart. This ojas also gives rise to T lymphocyte immune cells made by the thymus that differentiate self from non-self, cell-mediated immunity, signal basophils, eosinophils, and other immune functions. Para ojas becomes depleted by diseased lifestyle, diet, and illness. The second type of ojas is called apara ojas. This ojas is the result of health excellence in all tissues, channels, and biological forces operating at optimal levels. Apara ojas is supported by the quality of prana, emotions, nutrition, and lifestyle. Stress, anger, shock, fear, sexual fluid exhaustion, or the elements being imbalanced due to diet and lifestyle habits are the thieves of ojas, spoiling the pranic container, causing a type of fermentation of ojas, collection of toxic materials, ama, and attraction of negative gunas and prana. This section is on ama. Ama is a metabolic toxin. Ama is the first stage of disease according to Ayurveda. Ama is formed due to unripe foods, improperly prepared foods, improperly digested nutrition, overeating, improper fasting, incompatible food combinations, ingestion of cold materials, abnormal tissue loss, seasonal changes, emotional stress, poisons, weak digestive system, metabolic disorders, or suppression of natural urges. Ama spreads through the plasma from the digestive system outward into tissues. Ama has kapha-like qualities. It is clogging, heavy, cold, stable, and binding. Symptoms of ama are unclear thinking, feeling groggy, dull eyes, aches and pains, poor circulation, fever, fatigue, weakness, constipation, or diarrhea, sticky or foul, sinking stools, bloating gas, sleepiness after eating, or bad breath. Other signs of the metabolic toxin called ama are cloudy urine, elevated triglycerides, atherosclerosis, leukocytosis, or leukocytopenia, which are elevated or low white blood cells, excess platelet count, late onset type 2 diabetes, gout, impaired kidney function, elevated BUN or blood urea nitrogen. Gallstones can be seen, increased intraocular eye pressure, swelling, lymphedema, chronic infections, or autoimmune diseases. Signs of ama toxicity are also weak immune system, infertility, congestion in the lungs, throat, head, and sinus. Ama can also cause and trigger inflammatory brain disease, depression, brain fog, impaired memory, and mood disorders. In Ayurveda, treatment for ama targets the root imbalance between doshas, malas, dhatus, lifestyle, and nutrition. This section is on pitta and tejas. Pitta is the dosha composed of fire and water elements. Pitta is heating, transforming, purifying, penetrating, light, and viscous. Pitta is the biological force responsible for full body metabolism, liver function, bile production, spleen function, stomach functioning, as well as intestinal digestion and nutritional assimilation. Pitta upholds healthy blood constituents, an intelligent mind, eye health, visual perception, skin turgor, skin complexion, blood circulation, and warmth. Pitta supports the sebaceous glands and sweat regulation. Pitta also supports hormonal health, brain functioning, focus, neurotransmitters, personality, motivation, willpower, as well as eye health and perception. A shloka for Pitta goes as follows: Sa sneha tikshna ushnam lagu vishram saram dravam. This describes Pitta as sneha, unctuous, tikshna, sharp and penetrating, ushna, hot, lagu, light, visra, viscous, sara, fluid, and drava, liquid. Pitta has 5 subdoshas. The first is Pachaka Pitta. Pachaka Pitta is located in the duodenum, the ileum, the jejunum. It supports Agni, digestion. It separates nutrition from waste and helps with gastric enzyme production. Alochaka Pitta is the second subdosha. Alochaka Pitta is located in the eyes, in the enzymes and the rods and the cones to support sight. The third subdosha is called Ranjaka Pitta. Ranjaka Pitta is located in the liver, the spleen, the stomach, and small intestine to support bile production and blood formation through the liver. The fourth subdosha of Pitta is called Sadhaka Pitta. Sadhaka Pitta is located in the heart, and it supports the center of personality, cheerfulness, courage, temper, mind, desires, intellect, ego, and the sense organs. The fifth subdosha of Pitta is called Brajaka Pitta. Brajaka Pitta is located in the skin to support skin color, complexion, warmth, as well as transdermal substance assimilation. The signs of aggressive and accumulated Pitta are as follows: excessive body odor, sweatiness, greasy skin, body tissue or organ inflammation, inflamed joints, inflamed muscles, tissues, redness and heat, feeling hot, hot flashes, fevers, excessive sweat and thirst. Aggressive accumulated Pitta can also be seen by inflamed or bleeding gums, halitosis, bad breath, or a sour, bad taste in the mouth. Sometimes there's a yellow coating on the back of the tongue, or a hot, red, inflamed tongue. Excess Pitta internally can cause yellow, discolored skin, eyes, nail beds, mucous membranes, or fluids. Rashes, boils, hives, pimples, redness of the skin, burning sensations of the skin, and skin inflammation. Pitta can also be seen if it's in excess, causing burning in the eyes, throat, chest, stomach, urine, stools, skin, the excretory orifices, as well as a burning of desires and a burning in the mind. Excess Pitta is seen in the digestive system by what is called Tikshna Agni. Tikshna Agni is Pitta aggressive digestion characterized by hypermetabolism, excessive hunger, oftentimes without weight gain, gastric acidity, heartburn, esophageal reflux, a sore throat, frequent loose stools, diarrhea, digestive inflammation, ulcers, and bleeding. Accumulated Pitta in the body can also be seen with bleeding, easy bruising, excessive heat in the liver and blood, feeling overly competitive, critical, irritated, angry, hot-tempered, aggressive, restless, controlling, violent, lustful, blaming, and fault. Excessive Pitta can also cause somebody to feel manipulative, agitated, willful, dominating, quarrelsome, prideful, unsatisfied, and unsatiable. Excess Pitta can also be seen with disturbed sleep, agitated dreams, or waking up all hot and sweaty. In contrast, when Pitta is balanced and perfected, we see Tejas. Tejas is a subtle energy, a radiance and vitality. It reflects through enthusiasm, charisma, positive upliftment, inspiration, motivation, and the ability to transform. Tejas is the essence of Pitta, the fuel and fire used during meditation to enlighten, to burn karma, to awaken the spiritual sheaths and obtain moksha. Tejas is produced by well-functioning, peaceful mind states, balanced digestion, and balanced tissue metabolism due to wholesome nutrition and Ayurvedic lifestyles. Signs of low Tejas are as follows: lack of mental clarity, timidness, fearfulness, passive or submissive behavior, lack of personal direction and focus, negative or pessimistic thinking, as well as poor digestion. Without healthy tejas, the life we live becomes lusterless. Meditation becomes difficult or fruitless, and one's personality and drive feels dull. To maintain healthy pitta and tejas, follow pitta nutritional and lifestyle recommendations. This section, I'll be discussing Agni. Agni is the key to health in Ayurveda. There are different levels of Agni. The gastrointestinal Agni is called Jatar Agni. Jatar Agni. There are also special differentiated Agnis within the 5 elements and the 7 tissues. The Agni in the 5 elements, of course, is called Pancha Maha Bhuta Agni. And the Agni found within the 7 tissues is called the Sapta Dhatu Agni. Imbalances in Agni, especially in digestion, should be addressed first and foremost. There are 3 major types of digestive imbalances in Ayurveda: Tikshna Agni, Vishama Agni, and Manda Agni. When digestive disturbances are present, all metabolic functions of the body become imbalanced. Impaired Jatar Agni in the gastrointestinal system cascades out into the Agni of the tissues, the mind and spirit channels. To recognize imbalances of doshas in the digestive system, let's look at the following descriptions of classical digestive disease presentations. Number 1, Tikshna Agni. Pitta-aggravated digestion is called Tikshna Agni, and it's characterized by very strong digestion, strong appetite, excessive hunger or thirst, hyperdigestion, hyperacidity, burning, ulcers, bleeding, loose stools, hot burning stools, often with a foul smell. In Tikshna Agni, the tongue may be red or hot. There may be associated pitta symptoms also, such as a yellow coating on the tongue. Refer to the Ayurvedic Vikruti quiz and observe healthy pitta, nutrition, and lifestyles in the case of Tikshna Agni. Recommendations will include yoga calisthenics, breathwork, meditation, subtle therapies, spices, and Ayurvedic herbs. Pitta dosha is most closely associated with Agni. However, excellence of digestion requires balance in all 3 doshas, so pay attention to all 3. Let's look at Vishama Agni indicates vata aggression in the digestion. It's evidenced by a more delicate, variable, unpredictable digestive system, prone to mixed symptoms of gas, belching, bloating, gurgling, constipation, pain, hard and dry stools. The tongue may be dry and cracked, and there may be associated vata symptoms such as anxiety, insomnia, and dizziness. To see how high the vata imbalance is, take the Ayurvedic Vikruti quiz and consider observing healthy vata and nutritional lifestyle practices such as yoga calisthenics, breathwork, meditation, subtle therapies, spices, and Ayurvedic herbs appropriate to balance vata. The third type of major digestive imbalance in Ayurveda is called Manda Agni. Manda Agni describes when kapha excess is seen in the digestive system. This is usually evidenced by slow digestion, delayed gastric emptying, indigestion, loss of appetite, slow, thick, sticky stools, sometimes mucoid stools, a swollen gut or pot belly, and even bad breath. The tongue might have a thick, white, sticky coating or teeth marks from swelling. Other kapha symptoms may be present, such as fatigue, heaviness, brain fog. In cases like this, it's valuable to take the Ayurvedic Vikruti quiz and then determine the appropriateness of observing healthy kapha, nutrition, and lifestyle observances with appropriate yoga calisthenics, breathwork, meditation, subtle therapies, spices, and Ayurvedic herbs. In this section, we'll be covering Vata. Vata is the biological humor of air and space. Vata is dry, light, cold, rough, small, and mobile. Vata supports all the movements in the body. Healthy Vata promotes a beautiful complexion. Vata controls breathing, sneezing, yawning, heart rate, and cardiovascular circulation. Vata supports mind functioning, memory, and focus. Vata supports the sense organs, speech, and enthusiasm. Vata also controls digestive movement, peristalsis, waste elimination, and nutrient assimilation. Vata resides primarily in the colon, pelvis, low back, legs, bones, and skin. Vata is also responsible for musculoskeletal movement, balance, reflexes, coordination, nerve conduction, as well as tissue organization and differentiation. A shloka for Vata goes like this: Tatra ruksha lagu shita kara sukshma chalo anila. Vata is ruksha, dry, lagu, light, shita, cold, kara, rough, sukshma, minute, and chala, mobile. There are 5 subdoshas to kapha. The first is prana vayu. Prana vayu is located in the head, the brain, the throat and chest, and heart. Prana vayu supports the mind, heart, sense organs, breathing, intelligence, memory, yawning, sneezing, heart rhythm, and contractility. The second subdosha of Vata is called Udana Vayu. Udana Vayu is located in the nose, the neck, the chest to navel. Udana Vayu supports speech, effort, strength, memory, enthusiasm, mental stamina, skin color, and complexion. The third subdosha of Vata is called Samana Vayu. Samana Vayu is located in the gastrointestinal tract and sweat channels. Samana Vayu supports sweating, nutrient assimilation, peristalsis, and food absorption. The fourth subdosha of Vata is called Vyana Vayu. Vyana Vayu is located in the heart and all over the body. It supports circulation and all over body movement and activity, voluntary and involuntary, including vasomotor nervous system and blinking. The last subdosha of Vata is called Apanavayu. Apanavayu is located in the large intestines, the testes, the urinary bladder, the penis, the uterus, and the rectum. It supports movement of reproductive substances out of the body, menstruation, fetal delivery, bowel and urine elimination. Now, what are the signs of aggravated, aggressive, accumulated Vata inside the body? Let's take a look. First, people will experience dry, brittle, thinning hair, skin, and nails. Dry eyes, nose, lips, mouth, vagina, and anus. Accumulated aggressive Vata in the body may be seen as tremors, shaking, seizures, weakness, or fainting. Accumulated Vata may also manifest as gas, bloating, abdominal pain, gurgling, belching, distension, constipation with dry, hard to pass, pebble-like stools. Excess Vata will also cause a dry or cracked tongue and diminished sense of taste. There may be joint pain, joint dryness, osteoporosis, osteopenia, back pain, and sciatica. Aggressive Vata may also show as numbness, tingling, loss of sensation, weakness or emaciation, dizziness, vertigo, poor coordination. In the mind, excessive or aggressive Vata will show indecisiveness, emotional sensitivity, rapid, incessant, and irrelevant speech, hyperactivity, restlessness, impulsiveness, hypervigilance, feeling overstimulated, insomnia, light, poor sleep or fitful dreams, nervousness, anxiety, looping, worry, dread, and fear. Excessive Vata in the mind can also cause difficulty focusing, feeling distracted, and poor concentration. Other symptoms may include cold hands and feet and poor circulation. Prana. Prana is life force. Prana is also known as vital breath, primal energy, chi, ki, the soul. The quantity, quality, and flow of prana are affected by the environment, food, hydration, breathing patterns, thoughts, emotions, and actions. Ayurveda and Yoga teach us how to modulate the flow of prana through every channel for optimal health and well-being. There are pranic channels in the physical body, pranic body, mind body, and finer, subtle body sheaths. On the physical realm, prana flows through the Annamaya kosha via channels, shrotas, marmas, and dhatus. Most of the prana in the Annamaya kosha is from food, hydration, digestion, as well as the environment and lifestyle. Prana also flows through the Pranamaya kosha, the breath sheath. This is determined by the way we breathe, as well as our emotions, which influence the way we breathe. The cellular brain determines our emotions and the flow of prana in the manomaya kosha. The manomaya kosha in the mind channels has a butterfly effect out into the intelligence sheath. The intelligence sheath is known as the Vijnana Maya Kosha. Now note, this is the intelligence of the soul, not the biological brain. Then there's a fifth layer of the human system that prana flows through. It's called the Ananda Maya Kosha, the bliss body. Through spiritual evolution and purification, these pancha koshas become accessed, remembered, strengthened, and rejuvenated. Review the 5 koshas by name: Ana Maya Kosha, Prana Maya Kosha, Mano Maya Kosha, Vijnana Maya Kosha, and Ananda Maya Kosha. Prana flows through every aspect of the body, mind, and spiritual sheaths through a network of 72,000 channels called nadis. There are 3 large primary nadis called the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna channels. The Ida is the left main channel associated with cold energy, tamas, lunar, feminine energy, stored potential, downward flowing energy, and restful vibrations with a yin quality. The Pingala is the right main nadi associated with heat, action, rajas, solar energy, masculine energy, upward and outward flow of energy, the doing vibrations or yang energy. This is the Pingala. The third channel is called the Sushumna. This is the largest, the central main nadi. It's the soul channel. The energy here is pure and light. This central path of Kundalini connects the 7 primary axial chakras from the root to the crown via the Ida and Pingala that crisscross that central channel, influencing our overall pranic balance and well-being. Prana is vata, functioning at its best. Prana creates proper circulation of life force and vitality. Prana is the sustainer and destroyer of life. Prana connects all systems, shrotas, sense organs, motor organs, the mind and emotions. Prana flow can be blocked by malas, waste products, such as urine, sweat, or feces. When prana is circulating properly, it creates health and vitality. When prana is circulating improperly, it aggravates vata and causes either physical and or emotional pain and disorder. Chronic disease starts in the mind due to disturbed consciousness, which in turn disturbs systemic prana and alters the aura. Society can attract collective, negative or positive prana. Guard against that contamination, just as you would guard against an unwanted cold draft or vermin in the house. Learning how to control the flow of these energies is like mastering the steering wheel, gear, shifter, brake and accelerator pedals in your vehicle for the first time. Prana excellence is cultivated through balanced doshas. proper nutrition and lifestyle, including pranayamic practices to control and purify the flow of breath. See the pranayama section of this book. All living creatures have a gross physical body and a subtle body. The sukshma sharira, also referred to as the linga deha. This subtle body interfaces through and contains pathways from the 5 sense organs, 5 motor organs, 5 pranas, mind, self-awareness, and intellect. This life force extends beyond what the unassisted human eye can see. Each human also has a jivatma, an individual soul, which arose from the Atma, the universal, omnipotent, omnipresent, eternal soul. In Ayurveda, the soul is always pure, but the mind can create conditions upon the individual's soul. Self-realization through Ayurveda and Yoga involves removal of these blockages and conditionings from the physical, mental, and spiritual sheaths. This section will be discussing manas, the mind. The mind is known as manas. In Ayurveda, the mind is the instrument for acquiring knowledge, experience, planning, happiness, desires, sorrows, and aversions. The mind is both atomic and eternal. There are innumerable minds, each associated with its own individual soul. Each soul is conditioned by previous experiences and conclusions from this life and previous lives through the migrating mind. Ayurveda and Yoga aim to remove dysfunctional conditionings, so the true radiance of the soul is revealed and lived here and now. Mental well-being is a primary pillar of health in Yoga and Ayurveda. Ayurveda provides clear understanding of the causes of mental imbalances and insanity. The etiology of mental disease is either from internal factors such as doshas, nutrition, and lifestyle, or due to external factors such as injury, infection, poison, weather, or exogenous spirits. Everybody strives for optimal concentration, memory, effectiveness, vitality, rest, and emotional balance. Western allopathic medicine and modern psychology can be dramatically augmented by the eternal sciences and practices of Ayurveda and Yoga. Signs of a healthy mind according to Ayurveda. Number 1, absence of tension and frustration. Number 2, happy and contented state of mind, a cheerful disposition. A healthy mind also exhibits happy self-esteem, good self-confidence, and a feeling of security. The ability to give and receive friendliness, love, and affection. A happy mind strives to be of service to uplift society. A person with a healthy mind exhibits the ability to have truthful speech, clear thoughts, correct actions, respect for other humans, animals, nature, and spirits, control over one's mind, emotions, desires, instincts, behaviors, and speech. A healthy mind shows adaptability, intelligence, memory, fortitude, courage, and discernment. Lastly, but not least, a healthy mind shows control over one's 5 gyanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas, the 5 sense organs and 5 organs of karma. The mind, mana, is a mysterious organ with invisible functions that allows cognition along with control and coordination of the sense organs. The mind is described as omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. The body and soul are linked by the mind. The Rig Veda describes the mind as a light implanted in the heart. Charaka describes the seat of the mind as being in the heart, but also throughout the body. The first stage of disease is the inability to discern good from bad, helpful from harmful, beneficial from addictive, ego and greed. Ayurveda understands the functioning of the human mind according to 3 qualities known as gunas. The 3 gunas that influence the mind are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Each describe a state of mental presence. Every person is born with a dominant personality, a manas prakriti, that is either rajasic, tamasic, or sattvic. The mind goes through innumerable states of sattva, raja, and tama, as well as purification and strengthening toward an ideal state of union with the pure soul. A person who has a sattvic disposition demonstrates an excellent intellect, strong presence of mind, emotional fortitude, a gentleness, truthfulness, and selfless conduct. A person with a rajasic disposition is more active, ambitious, but often tense and restless or troubled. A tamasic disposition is characterized by inactivity, apathy, dejection, or ignorance. In normal life, sleeping and resting are categorized as essential, contributing to the tamasic flow of energy. This is normal. When one is awake, up, and active, they are rajasic. This is normal. Tama and raja, however, can be demonstrated in a pathological mental state. Excessive rajasic energy is experienced as agitation, anxiety, compulsiveness, over-engaged thoughts or actions. Excessive tamasic energy feels dark, heavy, dull, foggy, soggy, and slow. During these types of imbalanced states, an individual will demonstrate oftentimes loss of clarity, loss of wisdom, and unwholesome living. To reduce mental guna imbalances, Patanjali Yoga Sutras describe 4 mind vitiators: jealousy, animosity, envious, and hatred. Patanjali also refers to 4 purifiers of the mind. The 4 purifiers are friendliness, compassion, delight, and acceptance as an antidote to imbalance. In this section, we'll be discussing personality types along with the mind gunas. It is interesting to look at Western personality and mental disorders from an Ayurvedic perspective. Charaka describes personalities as innately tamas dominant, rajas dominant, or sattva dominant. Charaka describes 3 types of tamasic dominant personalities. They all have a common overall set of features, being less intelligent, a depressed frame of mind, and prone to laziness. This type of tamasic personality also tends to focus on eating, drinking, sleeping, and sex. They tend to be more greedy, irritable, and lacking consideration for others. Charaka describes that they will harm others to safeguard their own interests. Charaka Samhita lists 6 types of rajas dominant personality types, and their rajasic features being egotistical, proud, ambitious, tending to rule over others, hardworking, sometimes with lack of direction. Rajasic dominant personality types demonstrate more anger, attachment, jealousy, and dominance. They're more prone towards emotional outbursts and wasted mental energy, but they can be calm, good, friendly, faithful, and patient when their interests are unchallenged. Charaka Samhita also lists 7 personality types that are sattva dominant. Sattvic personalities are described as saint-like, devoted, intelligent, kind, sage-like, eloquent, excellent, virtuous leaders with self-mastery and high emotional intelligence. Lastly, Charaka writes about the trigunatita, or personality. This type of person and personality will show full emotional control, renunciation of worldly pleasures. They are unaffected by insult and can remain elevated in the realm of peace, bliss, and meditation. This is the goal of evolved mental health and self-realization. When healing the mind with Ayurveda and yoga, it is important to realize that mind alterations and pathologies can be either psychological or psychosomatic. Psychological disturbances arise from the mind: fear, grief, shock, whereas psychosomatic disturbances arise due to bodily dosha disturbances. Let's look closer. Vata excess can cause rajas in the mind. You'll see things like hyperactivity, forgetfulness, anxiety, generalized fear. Rajas in the mind can also be due to pitta, where we see more agitation, criticalness, outbursts, lustfulness, maybe even mania and violence. Now, if the psychosomatic disturbance of the body is from kapha, you'll see tamasic qualities like fatigue, laziness, hoarding and depression, excessive sleep, and apathy. What are some of the causes of psychological disturbance, as well as contributors to psychosomatic disturbances? Some of these causes are chronic anxiety, chronic stress, horror, assault, divorce, grief, excessive excitement, excessive lust, insecurity, guilt, shame, rejection, abandonment, anger, confusion, frustration. These states of the mind are treated through counseling, spiritual guidance, as well as lifestyle observances through yoga and Ayurveda. Now, psychosomatic mental disorders, as we've discussed, can be seen through imbalanced vata, pitta, or kapha doshas. In these instances, take the Vikruti quiz and determine the most elevated problematic dosha, and then follow appropriate Ayurvedic nutrition, lifestyle, as well as yogic observances. In this section, I'll be discussing Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas, the sense organs and action organs. The mind interfaces with 5 sense organs, known as Gyanendriyas. The 5 sense organs are the ears, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose. These are organs of knowledge, jnana. The mind also interfaces with 5 action organs, karmendriyas. These are the organs of speech, which is the mouth, the hands, the feet, the anus, and sex organs. The Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas are controlled and supported by the 3 doshas and 5 elements respectively. If the body and or mind are unkept or imbalanced, perception and actions become unclear. Care must be taken in the regular health maintenance of sense organs and karma organs. If left unkept, they become out of control or even offline. Let's look at the relationship between each of the 5 elements. Remember the Pancha Mahabhuta and these 5 organs of sense and action. The element of earth is associated with the sense of smell and the nose. The element of earth is also associated with the karma organ of the genitals and reproduction. The element of water is associated with the Gyanendriya of taste or the tongue, and the karma organ of the anus and action of excretion. The fire element is associated with eyes and vision, and also the karma organ of the feet and locomotion. The element of air is associated with the skin and sensation, and the karma organs of the hands and dexterity. Lastly, the element of space is associated with the Gyanendriya, the ears and hearing, as well as the Karmendriya, the tongue and speech. Imbalances in the sense organs causes altered incoming vibrations, altered translations and experiences. Imbalances in the sense organs affect the mind and emotions. Careful what you will feast upon thine will. Disease commonly rises because of abnormal or unhealthy use of the senses. Asatmya Indriya Samyoga means improper use of sense organs. There are 3 categories of misuse of sense organs. The first is Ati Yoga, overuse or overstimulation or excessive use. The second is A-yoga, meaning no use or underuse of a sense organ or karma organ. And the third type of misuse is mithya yoga, which means wrong use, improper use, or unwholesome use. Consider all of these permeations and examples when working with the mind and body dosha diseases. Hearing and the ears. Ati yoga is listening too loudly or too continuously. Yoga is no use of the ears or no sounds. Mithya yoga is harsh or disturbing sounds, straining sounds. When it comes to use of the eyes and seeing, Ati yoga is viewing too brightly or viewing too long. Examples of yoga is no use of the eyes. Mithya yoga is things like viewing horror or upsetting images. With the nose, Ati yoga would be overstimulating smells or continuous smelling and fragrances. Yoga is no use of smell. Mithya yoga is unwholesome use of smell or offensive smells. When it comes to the tongue and taste, Atya yoga would be tasting too much, tasting too long, too strong of tastes. Or yoga, no taste or lacking varied flavors and tastes. In Mithya yoga, offensive tastes, incompatible tastes. And lastly, touch and touching. This sense organ can be Atya yoga, excessive use of touch, too much touch. Yoga, no touch, not enough touch. Or Mithya yoga, harmful or disturbing touch. To counteract these abnormalities, Ayurveda and Yoga recommend many practices such as asana to bring the body under control, trataka to cleanse the eye channels, pranayama to cleanse the pranic body, pratyahara to sequester the sense organs and karma organs, brahmari, a yogic breath to cleanse the ears and vibrate every sense organ and cranial nerve. Nasya is a treatment to detoxify the head and chest region. Khechari mudra can be used to sequester the tongue. Other practices such as mula bandha can be used to direct the anal and sexual energies to productive locations. Spiritually productive locations. Other ways of controlling, strengthening, and purifying these sense organs are practices such as Shambhavi Mudra to control the eyes, chanting to neutralize psychic stress and debris, ritual, worship, and soul yoga. In this section, we'll discuss dhatus, the 7 tissues, the sapta dhatus. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha all work together to support the health of 7 tissues called the sapta dhatus. Sapta means 7. Dhatu means tissue. The 7 dhatus are rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asti, majja, and shukra. In English, they are plasma, blood, muscle, fat, bone, bone marrow, and reproductive system. The first is rasa, plasma. Healthy plasma brings nourishment, ojas, zeal, contentment, vigor, and a nice voice. Plasma nourishes breast milk, the reproductive system, and menstrual blood. Rasa has kapha-like qualities, so it is flowing, cooling, moist, nourishing, and contenting. The waste product of plasma is kapha. The root of plasma is the heart. The second of the sapta dhatus is rakta, or blood. Healthy blood brings proper prana, oxygenation, ojas, beautiful complexion, perception, healthy fascia, good digestion, and ojas. Blood is hot and influenced by pitta. Rakta gives rise to the blood vessels and fascia. And the waste product, or mala, of blood is pitta. The root is the liver, spleen, and ranjaka pitta. The third of the 7 tissues, or dhatus, is mamsa, muscle. Healthy muscles bring proper body covering, strength, endurance, a nourished epidermis. However, excessive mamsa dhatu, too much muscle, causes tumors, lymph disease, and body muscle excess. Inadequate mamsa tissue causes facial and gluteal emaciation, atrophy, pain in joints, and debility of the sense organs. The muscle tissue originates from tendons and the hypodermis. The fourth of the 7 dhatus is fat, meda. Healthy fat brings lubrication, suppleness, smoothness, and well-developed lymph vessels, tendons, and bone marrow. Too much fat tissue brings obesity, shortness of breath, enlarged spleen, weak bones, abnormal bone marrow, and reproductive disorders. The waste product of fat dhatu is sweat. The 5th structural tissue, or dhatu, is bone, asti. Healthy bone arises from maja, the bone marrow, for a strong skeletal frame, good teeth, hair, nails, and joints. And the mala, or byproduct of bone, is hair and nails. Number 6, marrow, or maja. Healthy bone marrow nourishes the central nervous system. Excess bone marrow tissue causes a sense of heaviness, heavy eyes, or enlarged joints. Insufficient maja, or bone marrow dhatu, causes osteoporosis, weakness, emaciation, and loss of ojas, vitality. The waste material from marrow is sebaceous gland and conjunctival eye secretions. The 7th dhatu, or tissue in Ayurveda, is shukra, the reproductive tissues. Healthy shukra nourishes the reproductive organs, brings strength, courage, attractiveness, enjoyment of life, inspiration, rejuvenation, fertility, a strong immune system, and ojas. Whereas excess depletion of the shukra dhatu causes infertility, loss of libido, weakness, and a weak immune system. If there is excess shukra dhatu, or reproductive tissue nourishment, then it causes lust, seminal calculi, urethral pain, genital pelvic pain, or congestion. Each of the 7 tissues receives selective nourishment based on the strength and balance of preceding and proceeding tissue layers. In the Kale Kapota Nyaya, forgive any of my mispronunciations, this theory is known as the pigeon doctrine, where the biggest pigeon or the biggest and largest tissue gets the biggest share of nutrients. For example, if a person has accumulated too much fat dhatu, then the proceeding bone tissue may lack nutrients and vitality. The Kedara Kulya Nyaya states that when all factors are balanced, the tissues are nourished in linear order. First rasa, lastly shukra. In a third doctrine, Ayurveda describes how each perfected tissue gives rise to the next, like milk gives rise to curd, then butter. Naturally, this whole process relies on proper exercise, metabolism, and compatible nutrition, lifestyle, and mind control. When all 7 dhatus are functioning optimally, then vitality and strength will be experienced. This section will discuss shrotas. Shrotas are channels. All the dhatus and tissues connect through shrotas. Shrotas are pathways from the root from which substances are transformed and transported. Nutrients, doshas, fluids, and waste products are carried through the shrotas. Shrotas connect all the tissues, the 7 dhatus as well. Shrotas include dhamani, arteries, rasayani, lymphatics, rasa vahini, capillaries, nadis, which are ducts, and margas, which are tracts. Shrotas are divided into whether or not they are receiving, distributing, excreting, or specialized. Each of them need to be maintained free of toxins, injury, or dosha imbalance. They are organized as follows. Receiving shrotas. There are 3 receiving shrotas. Pranavaha shrotas, udakavaha shrotas, and anavaha shrotas. Pranavaha shrotas provide inhalation, carrying oxygen to the lungs, and exhalation to expel carbon dioxide and respiratory toxins. Pranavaha shrotas provide agni through stimulating respiration. The second receiving shrota is udakavaha. Udakavaha shrotas balance and carry intracellular fluid, intercellular fluid, serum, and lubricating fluids. The third receiving shrota is anavaha shrotas. Anavaha shrotas carry food and water in the digestive system, and they're responsible for nourishment, digestion, and transformation of nutrients. Then there's the distributing shrotas. There are 7 distribution shrotas, and these are primarily controlled by Vyana Vayu. Now there are 7 distributing shrotas that each align with one of the 7 tissues, the saptadhatus. So respectively, we have rasavaha shrotas, raktavaha shrotas, mamsavaha shrotas, and so on to meda, asti, majja, and shukra. The rasavaha shrotas primarily deal with plasma, lymphatic channels, and heart channels. Raktavaha shrotas are dealing with vascular channels like the liver and spleen. Mamsavaha shrotas are related to the muscles and skin nourishment. Medavaha shrotas are associated with fat and the kidney channels, as well as sweat. Astivaha shrotas are associated with the bones, the pelvis, the low spine. Majjavaha shrotas are associated with the bone marrow and joints. And Shukravaha shrotas are associated with the reproductive glands and organs. Now there's also special shrotas. The Manavaha shrotas, Stanyavaha shrotas, and Artavavaha shrotas. Manavaha shrotas are the mind channels. They're rooted in the heart. They're nourished by rasa. The Stanyavaha shrotas are associated with the breast and breast milk. They're also nourished by rasa. And then there's the Artavavaha shrotas. This is the uterus, fertility structures, and menstruation. This is also nourished by rasa. Now we also have excreting shrotas. Apana Vayu governs the downward flow of excretion through the excretion shrotas. We have Mutra Vahashrotas, Purisha Vahashrotas, and Sweda Vahashrotas. Mutra Vahashrotas work with circulating electrolytes and liquids via the bladder and urine. Purisha Vahashrotas work with the excretion of feces, bowel movements, through the rectum out from the Anavaha shrotas. And lastly, Sweda Vahashrotas work with sweat as a liquid excretion arising from the fat dhatu, sweat and skin. Now, for assessment purposes, there are 4 major categories of shrota imbalances. The first is sangha, which is a blockage of a shrota. An example would be a blood clot. The second type of shrota imbalance is ati parvati, which means excessive movement like diarrhea. The third type of major imbalance is when there are abnormal pouches or nodules, such as in diverticulosis. And the fourth imbalance is when the movement is going in the wrong direction, such as vomiting. In this section, we're going to discuss prakriti. Prakriti is a term that describes a person's Ayurvedic baseline constitution. The prakriti of a person reflects what dosha has more dominant influence on structure, physiology, and mind. A person's prakriti remains constant throughout life and is reflected in a person's physical and mental attributes. Each person has 1 or 2 dominant doshas with lesser characteristics of the others. All 3 doshas are required for life, and each person has a unique distribution and unique tendencies. A person can identify according to their baseline constitution or dominant qualities. For example, someone may say, I have a vata prakriti, or I have a pitta prakriti. Often there is a second dosha that manifests as secondarily dominant, so it's commonly to identify one's baseline nature as vata pitta, or pitta kapha, or kapha vata, and so on. A person's prakriti doesn't change, but the prevalence and balance of doshas can change with life stages, seasons, times of day, nutrition, and lifestyle. For example, if a person has a more pitta-dominant prakriti, They will often tend to become pitta imbalanced, especially at high noon or midsummer or during their late teens. A kapha dominant person may tend to struggle with kapha accumulation, especially in cold winter when they want to hibernate or eating big feasts. Vata dominant prakritis will have more challenges with balancing vata, especially in later adulthood, cold climates, or chilly, dry weather. The goal in Ayurveda is to achieve equilibrium between all three doshas in respect to one's natural baseline prakriti. A person's prakriti never changes, but there are shifts and balances that need to be accommodated according to food, emotion, season, schedule, rest sleep cycle, and current life phase. This section of the workbook will provide guidelines for deeper understanding of how Ayurveda works with health homeostasis. In this section, I will go over each of the doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. For each column, mark down or keep track of each response that you have if it applies to you. And then at the end, you can add it up and determine if your prakriti is more Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. First, we will begin with the Vata column. Mark any of these if these are your normal, natural characteristics and tendencies. Skin: dry, dark, thin, uneven complexion, cool skin tones, or skin cool to touch. Natural body build in Vata is tall, lean, petite, or narrow-framed. The immune system is a little bit more weak. Strength is less strong. Memory is quick to learn, but also quick to forget. Head and facial features are often smaller, more petite. Joints are often more prominent or bony. The sweat production is more scant and light. Hair tends to be more thin and dry. Nails tend to be more thin and brittle. Eyes are smaller, darker brown, maybe black, gray, or dull with irregularities or discolorations. Vata-type teeth are naturally more small, maybe crooked or underdeveloped and irregular. A Vata voice is softer or raspy, maybe shrill. Vata speech is quicker or quieter. Vata types prefer a climate that is sunny, warm, or humid. Vata Prakriti type people enjoy dance, travel, parks, art, plays, games, comedy, and theater. Natural Vata qualities are quick, far-reaching, inspiring, artistic, creative, healing, spontaneous, and sometimes hasty. Add up how many Vata points you got. And next, let's look at Pitta. Keep track of how many Pitta points you get. Pitta skin has more freckles, moles. They tend to be a little bit moist-skinned, a little clammy. Their complexion is more rosy and warm, with warm tones, and their skin is warm to touch. Pitta Prakritis have a moderate athletic build. Their immune system is moderately strong. Pitta strength is medium. Pitta memory is medium, but also quick. Pitta head and facial features are usually more medium in size and angular. Pitta joints are moderate in size. People with a Pitta Prakriti, they have more moderate sweat, more moderate odor. Pitta hair is more fine and oily. Pitta nails are soft and flexible. Pitta eyes are moderate in size, sometimes more green or hazel, amber. The whites of their eyes might be a little more red or light sensitive. Pitta type teeth are often more yellow, sensitive with soft enamel or sensitive gums. People with a Pitta Prakriti often have a firmer, louder voice, and their speech is more direct and commanding. Pitta type people prefer cooler, drier water and often prefer being near water. They love to enjoy sports, competitions, politics, hunting. Their natural qualities tend to be more intense, leadership-oriented, competitive, protective, decisive, maybe impulsive, calculative, and sometimes perfectionistic. Add up how many Pitta qualities that resonate with you naturally. And next, let's look at what are the different qualities of somebody with a Kapha Prakriti. Kapha features: the skin is smooth and supple, thicker, plush, even and clear complexion with even, cool skin tones. Their skin is often a little more cool to touch. Their body build is usually larger, heavier, broader, thicker. Their immune system is very strong. Their physical strength is the strongest. Their memory, they're slower to learn, but very firm, long, and strong memory recall. Kapha head features tend to be larger with broad features. Kapha joints are largest. Kapha body types don't sweat very much and don't smell very much. Their hair is often full and thick and luxurious. Their nails are thick and strong and hard. Kapha eyes are often larger in size, wide set, very clear and bright and loving. Kapha teeth are large, white, strong, with a wide jaw set. Kapha voices are deep and resonant. Their speech is slower and loving. Kapha Prakriti type people love warm, calm, luxurious environments, and they love business, family, the fineries and luxuries of life. A person with a Kapha dominant Prakriti, they are more patient and calm, supportive and nurturing, forgiving, graceful. They have a stronger faith and they tend to be the most long-term and stable. So based on these features, you should be able to easily determine whether you are mostly Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, or Kapha Prakriti, or a combination thereof. In this section, we'll discuss Vikruti. Vikruti is a term used to measure a person's current state of health or their imbalance in regard to the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vikruti describes a physiological imbalance that is not conducive to the homeostasis and optimal health in regards to the person's baseline prakriti. During exam and questioning, certain specific symptoms will be present based on whether or not Vata is aggressive, Pitta is aggressive, or Kapha has become aggressive. Let's take the Ayurvedic Vikruti quiz. This first column of symptoms correlate with Vata. Tally up how many responses resonate with you. Vata aggravation. Feeling spun out, feeling spaced out, feeling rushed or out of time, feeling hyper, sensitive, battling with looping thoughts, feeling dizzy, faint, nervous, lonely, jittery, spastic, uncoordinated, shaky, anxious, fearful, scattered, too talkative, hypervigilant, flighty, or forgetful. Other signs of a imbalanced Vata Vikruti: the skin may be delicate, dry, rough, chapped, thin, or cracked. Mucous membranes of the eyes, the nose, anywhere on the body may be dry, thin, pale, or with dark discolorations. The tongue in a Vata Vikruti may be dry and cracked. The eyes may be dry and dull. The joints might be dry, cold, stiff. Sleep may be light and unrestful with insomnia. Dreams may start being hyper, full of dancing or running or chasing, flying, windiness, anxious and fear. One's lifestyle will feel too hyper, active, fast-paced or on the go. A Vata Vikruti stress response may be seen as panic, running away, or hyper-exaggerated. Eating patterns in a Vata Vikruti may be eating little meals, skipping meals, eating like a bird, forgetting to eat, always being in a caloric deficit or weight loss. Digestive-wise, a Vata Vikruti will be evidenced with gas and gurgling and bloating and erratic digestive patterns in the digestive system. Feces and stools might be hard, dry, firm, and pebble-like bowel movements with constipation. Urination may be scant and light. Health conditions that may show up with a Vata Vikruti are osteoporosis, osteopenia, thinning of the bones, arthritis, pain, vertigo, attention deficit disorder, irritable bowel, poor circulation, memory loss, sensation loss, tachycardia, or emaciation. Total all those up and see how many Vata Vikruti points that you recorded. Next is Pitta. A Pitta Vikruti, they will feel hot-headed, inflamed, pushy, demanding, lustful, obsessive, aggressive, agitated, impatient and irritable, jealous, angry, harsh-tempered, controlling, antagonistic, competitive, violent, destructive, egotistical. Pitta Vikruti skin will be inflamed and itchy, red, sensitive, oily, maybe with hives or rashes, and hot. The mucous membranes of the body may be burning, red, ulcerated, or bleeding. The tongue might be hot, red, inflamed. The eyes might be hot, red, or even red discolorations. The joints may also feel hot and inflamed. The sleep of a person with a Pitta Vikruti, they may have moderate sleep but feel very active or unrested. Their dreams may be angry, violent, lustful, hot, flames, conflict, and stress. A Pitta Vikruti lifestyle may be intense paced, competitive, maxed out. And the stress response may be to confront or argue, blame, fight, force, critique, or fault finding. A Pitta Vikruti appetite may be very strong. They get hangry. They get food aggressive with a strong digestion. And the food just burns right through them. They may even have gastric ulcers, reflux. And their digestive elimination, their stools might be loose and frequent, unformed, floating, or foul. Urination in a Pitta Vikruti may be yellow or burning. And you may see other health conditions arise when Pitta is imbalanced, such as heartburn, ulcers, headaches, aggression, thirst, hot flashes, flare-ups of shingles or herpes, liver disease, blood disease, or bleeding. Add up how many points you have in the Pitta Vikruti section. And now let's look at Kapha Vikruti. If Kapha is elevated or too high for your personal prakriti, you may see some of these symptoms. Keep track of how many you respond to. Kapha feelings. When the Vikruti is imbalanced, is reclusiveness, feeling weighed down, blocked, congested, possessive, hoarding, greedy, slow-moving, lethargic, stubborn, unmotivated, uninspired, feeling a heavy mood, materialistic, sad, apathetic. A Kapha Vikruti may see skin symptoms that show as clogged pores, nodular or cystic acne, or plaques on the skin. The mucous membranes might be swollen and mucousy and congested. The tongue might be swollen and coated. The eyes may be mucousy, crusty, swollen, or puffy. And the joints may also be swollen and heavy. With a Kapha Vikruti, sleep might be too much sleep, too long, very deep and slumberous. And they may have dream changes, like dreams of being blocked, stuck, trapped, sinking, suffocating, or immobilized. Lifestyle symptoms in a Kapha Vikruti, maybe they're too sedentary, unproductive. And the stress response may be just depressed, repressed, avoidant, or going to sleep. In a Kapha Vikruti, the eating pattern will often be eating till full, overeating, comfort eating, food hoarding, food hiding, late night eating, indigestion, slow digestion, and slow elimination. The feces might be sticky, thick, Bowel movements might be slow, mucousy, or incomplete. Urine might be cloudy. And health conditions that may manifest are high cholesterol, fatty liver, diabetes, obesity, depression, tumors, lipomas, fibroids, thickenings, blockages, swelling, and lymphedema. So add up all your responses and look across the column. Look at how many responses are in Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and you'll have a very clear idea which dosha needs to be worked on through Ayurvedic nutrition and lifestyle, as well as yogic interventions. In this section, we'll be looking at dinacharya, daily routine, in regards to time of day. The ancient texts of Ayurveda delineate what times of the day are best suited for certain activities. Each time of day is associated with a particular dosha and advantages based on the qualities and functions of that dosha. Let's look at the times of days and which dosha is most dominant. Kapha is dominant between 6 and 10, daytime and nighttime. Pitta is most active between 10 and 2, a.m. and p.m. And Vata is most prevalent between 2 and 6, daytime and nighttime. Plan the day according to Ayurvedic time guidelines and stay healthier. Organize your life around these time frames to improve health and vitality. Let's take a look at 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., the Vata time of morning. Waking up during the Vata time of day before 6 a.m. will give a more optimal, light, and peaceful energy throughout the day. You'll feel more sattvic. Practice calm yoga, breathwork, and meditation during this time of the morning. Don't launch into any stressful activities yet. Wake up during the Vata hours, especially to ensure proper bowel evacuation. Avoid large meals in this early time frame of the morning when the digestive system is not quite ready yet. Also, take note, waking up too late in the morning, past 6 a.m., may result in having a kapha kind of day. If you wake up past 6 a.m., it's the kapha stage of day, so you may feel heavy, tired, and mentally foggy. And also, you may not have a morning bowel movement. So, what are the suggested wake-up times? According to Ayurveda, waking during Brahma Muhurta, approximately 90 minutes before sunrise, will give optimal sattvic prana and life force, keeping away energy and mood imbalances. For a kapha constitution, wake up real early, between 3:30 and 4:30. For a pitta, vikruti or prakruti, wake up between 4:30 and 5:30. And for a vata type constitution or imbalance, wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. After 6 a.m., it's kapha time of day. From 6 to 10 in the morning, it's ideal to enjoy your breakfast, begin the day's activities and business. And this is an excellent time to go outside, go for a walk, enjoy the garden, enjoy the morning sun. It's an ideal time to feel grounded, centered, and start the day's business and work. Between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is a pitta time of day. This is when the digestive power is high, so it's an ideal time to eat your larger, nourishing meal. This is a particularly difficult time to miss or skip meals. Between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is an excellent time for mental acuity, problem solving, work, creating and being active. From 2 to 6 p.m., Vata is ruling. This early evening time is an excellent frame to finish the day's activities and work. Have the last big meal of the day in this period before dark. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., it's Kapha time. And this evening time is good to slow down and replenish. Prepare for sleep before 10 p.m. to get an ideal deep night's sleep. When people go to sleep too late at night, they end up in the Pitta time frame of the evening. That's between 10 and 2 a.m. This time of the night is best for sleep and rejuvenation. But if you've eaten too late or too large in the night, it may inhibit this hour of sleep where natural anti-aging cellular repair should be occurring. So in Ayurveda, part of the day-to-day self-care for optimizing health, dinacharya, really requires fine-tuning and taking into consideration what time we do what activities. In this section, we're going to look closer at dinacharya and day-to-day self-care. Dinacharya are the Ayurvedic routines and day-to-day behaviors that keep balance between the doshas, dhatus, malas, agni, metabolism, mind, and sense organs. May I suggest using the daily log in the back of this book to help track your day-to-day times, activities, self-care, and progress. In Ayurveda, some of the daily observances start right when the mind is awake in the morning. Wake up and look at something sacred. Look at your palms for courage, prosperity, and knowledge. Focus on something sacred, maybe a picture, a family photo, your pet, a yantra, a lamp, or nature. And spend time in prayer and meditation. Have peace in your mind right when you wake up in the morning, and this will determine your course of the day. Daily observances, or dinacharya in Ayurveda, also looks at elimination. If diet and exercise and metabolism are healthy, the bowels and bladder should evacuate shortly upon awakening without artificial stimulation. If not, people can practice yogic techniques to help the evacuation of their bowels in the morning. Calisthenics such as Surya Namaskar or Pawanmuktasana 3 are very helpful. Also, take a look at the digestive types and nutrition according to your Prakriti and Vikruti. Other elements of dinacharya self-care are oral care. They recommend brushing the teeth twice a day with soft, fine powders and soft bristles. Here's some good details. Vata oral types can use honey with triphala, cinnamon and or cardamom powder for mouth care. Pitta types can use powders of licorice and neem, nimba and rock salt, or triphala and cardamom for oral care. Kapha oral types can use powdered ginger with cardamom and cinnamon, or pepper and triphala. Another thing that Ayurveda recommends is chew 2 teaspoons of black sesame seeds till it becomes a liquid paste in the mouth. Then spit and rinse it out. This naturally improves the enamel of the teeth since black sesame seeds contain calcium and phosphorus. Ayurveda recommends using a mouthwash, a mouth fill decoction which is a warm herbal mixture held in the mouth for about a minute and then spit out. This practice improves salivation, prevents mouth ulcers, prevents bad breath, improves taste, reduces headaches and toxins in the head and neck region. To do this, you can add a half or a full teaspoon of desired powders into a quarter or a half cup of hot water. Steep that for a couple minutes and then hold it in the mouth for 1 minute and then spit out. What herbs or powders do you use? Well, if you're a Pitta mouth type, try licorice, neem, triphala, cardamom. If a Vata mouth type is occurring, then try triphala with honey or licorice, cinnamon, and cardamom in the tea decoction that you hold in the mouth. For Kapha mouth concerns, try warm water mouth fill made with ginger, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper, or triphala powders. Ayurveda recommends every day that you look at your tongue. A dry, cracked tongue indicates Vata aggression. A hot, red, ulcerated tongue indicates Pitta aggression. A swollen tongue with white, goopy coating indicates Kapha aggression. So adjust dietary and lifestyle observances accordingly. Ayurveda recommends that you scrape the tongue with 3 strokes, either with a tongue scraper or a metal spoon, and this will remove debris, bacteria, and odor. Another great Ayurvedic practice to get into the habit of is oil pulling. Oil pulling strengthens the jaw, improves the voice, reduces cheek wrinkles, improves facial muscle and fascia tone. Oil pulling reduces a boggy double chin and promotes elimination of lymphatic congestion from the head, face, and oral pharyngeal region. Oil pulling improves taste, moisturizes the lips, reduces jaw pain and cracking. It prevents tooth decay and tooth sensitivity. Now, oil pulling is performed by holding and swishing 2 to 3 teaspoons of either raw sesame oil, coconut oil, or a specialty oil in the mouth for several minutes. Swish continuously for 5 to 10 minutes and then spit it out afterwards. Try other Ayurvedic natural mouth fresheners to reduce bad breath, lubricate, and cleanse the mouth. These Ayurvedic natural mouth fresheners also enhance digestion, reduce bacteria, and prevent disease. Try cardamom and clove to reduce any built-up kapha in the head and neck region. You can simply take a cardamom pod, put it in your mouth, and suck on it for about 5 minutes, and the little seeds inside will come out, and you can gently chew those up. You can put the clove in the side of the mouth, like cheek it, and suck on it for about 5 minutes, and then slowly nibble bit by bit away. Try fennel seeds to freshen the mouth, reduce bacteria, and balance pitta, gastric acidity, ulcers, or inflammation. For Vata type things, you can try chewing a few cumin seeds or wild celery seeds. All of these will help freshen the breath, get rid of bacteria, viruses, and improve overall health. Now, a couple more things upon wakening. Ayurveda says that right when you wake up, drink 8 palmfuls of room temperature or warm water on an empty stomach, unless otherwise restricted. Ayurveda suggests drinking from a silver cup to soothe Vata, a gold cup to soothe pitta, or a copper cup to ease kapha. Hydration in the morning prevents malabsorption, constipation, skin disease, urinary disease, inflammation, dehydration, and sluggishness. Now, a couple more things for self-care and dinacharya, nose care. In Ayurveda, they have a whole section on how to take care of the nose. Let's talk about nasya. Nasya is nose care done regularly or seasonally with the administration of a special oil called anu tailam. There are other things that can be administered, but this is the most common. For small daily use, 2 drops of this warm oil are dripped into each nostril with the head tipped back, and the drops of oil are snipped back into the nasal cavity and allowed to drain back while reclined for a few minutes. Spit out all the secretions. Sometimes a person might cough or gag or sneeze or feel a little tingly or tickly sensation in the throat. But this self-care practice reduces excessive doshas and toxins from the head, neck, sinus. It improves smell, nourishes the facial region. It definitely reduces mental problems and rejuvenates the brain, endocrine glands, and balances neurotransmitters. A full professional nasya treatment is recommended for receiving individualized assessment and instruction, as well as supervision before performing nasya self-care at home. Don't forget about ear care. In Ayurveda, it's suggested to apply 1 drop of warm oil in each ear daily or seasonally as directed. Sesame oil is excellent for ear care. There's also specialty ear oils. This practice reduces tinnitus, ringing in the ear. It reduces hearing loss, ear dryness. It reduces tympanic mandibular jaw pain, popping. It also lessens earwax, impaction, and neck pain. But before we finish up, I also want to discuss eye care and body care. Eye care in Ayurveda is done with oils, ghee, honey, and medicated decoctions or kajal. Kajal is a special ash and oil or ghee mixture. It resembles eyeliner and is applied in the waterline. Other preparations are applied to the eyes, such as strained and purified triphala water or purified triphala ghee, or even sometimes pure honey is applied to the lower lid waterline. These practices moisturize, tonify, or reduce excessive doshas in the eyes. Ayurvedic professional eye therapy treatment called netra basti can be performed by submerging the eyes in warm specialty oils contained inside a dough eye dam. Last subject on dinacharya. Body massage, abhyanga. In Ayurveda, they say that we really can benefit tremendously by massaging warm oils into the marmas of the body. This can be done on a regular basis at home to impart firmness and tone to the limbs and tissues. It smooths the skin, decreases the effects of aging, sagging, and lubricates the joints. Abhyanga, warm oil marma massage also promotes good circulation, improved prana. It stimulates the internal organs and promotes proper flow of lymph fluids and detoxification of impurities from the body. Abhyanga soothes the nerves and relaxes the nervous system. It reduces stress, promotes better and deeper sleep. Abhyanga of the scalp makes hair grow more luxuriously, thick and soft and glossy. Whether performing Abhyanga on yourself or having it done professionally. Usually the massage is performed over the scalp, the face, the neck, the arms, the hands, chest, abdomen, back, legs, and feet. And this therapy activates and allows stored or blocked prana to flow appropriately through the marmas, the energy centers of the body. Start by warming up your oil. And then meticulously massage all the different body parts of the entire body. Give extra special attention to the abdomen too, gently massaging clockwise from the right down and to the left. Oh, and don't forget the feet. They're very important. In this section, we're going to talk more about dinacharya, the stages of life and seasons. An important influence on day-to-day self-care, known as dinacharya, is being able to maintain balance through the 3 Ayurvedic stages of life. The kapha stage of life is considered birth to puberty. And in this stage of life, there are more kapha dominant features. Think of a chubby, sweet, cuddly, growing kid. During this kapha stage of development, they're undergoing deep nourishment and growth. And we often see kapha type issues as well, like runny, stuffy nose, cough and colds, and chubby fat rolls. In the pitta stage of life, this is puberty to natural menopause. It's an active time of growing, learning, hormonal transformation, individualization, and personality development. The pitta stage of life is prone towards pitta accumulation, sometimes seen with acne, skin problems, acidic digestion, inflammation, competitiveness, or a hot temper. And then, of course, there's the vata stage of life, usually seen after menopause and into old age. This vata stage of life is more influenced by things like dryness, loss of tissue integrity, hair loss, memory loss, or osteoporosis if vata is not properly managed. So imagine being, most of your life dealing with pitta, from teenage to older adulthood, and thinking, okay, I have to do these set of behaviors to stay balanced. But then all of a sudden, the vata stage of life starts. The whole balance will shift. So it's important to know these 3 stages of life. Kapha stage, infancy to puberty, when kapha is more dominant. Pitta stage of life, puberty to mid-adulthood. And vata stage of life, mid-adulthood to old age. This section will go over Ritacharya. Ritacharya is the Ayurvedic observance of seasonal self-care. Ayurveda emphasizes living in harmony with changing weather and climate patterns. Each season triggers a set of biological shifts in the human body. As the external macrocosmic forces of the sun, moon, and wind change, the weather influences the internal bodily doshas. A person's ability to maintain homeostasis through climate changes starts with the recognition of how to adapt with the forces of nature. Balancing vata, pitta, and kapha is easier in some seasons and more difficult in others. The winter season is characterized by coldness. Coldness is a common quality of kapha and vata. Therefore, both kapha and vata tend to become more imbalanced in the winter. A person's baseline prakriti and vikruti will determine their vulnerability to this. Depending on geographic location, winter might be wet and dry. If the climate is cold and wet, kapha will tend to accumulate internally. If the air is dry and cold, vata will accumulate. Look at winter. During that time, bears hibernate, possums stay in their dens, animals in general are less active, and nature growth has slowed down. So winter is an excellent time to go inward, conserve, rejuvenate, and regroup. Winter can be accompanied by kapha feelings of sluggishness and heaviness. At the same time, people may experience vata coldness, dryness, aches, and pains. Here are some general winter guidelines to help kapha and vata aggression. Maintain digestive health with balanced nutrition in the winter. In the winter, appetite is typically stronger, but overindulgence in calories, fats, and sweets will weaken the digestive metabolism and accumulate more kapha in the body. Choose balanced flavors, incorporating in bitter, astringent, pungent, and salty during the winter. Excessive sweet flavors will accumulate kapha, especially in the winter months. Mitigate kapha and vata during the winter by drinking plenty of warm water and teas throughout the day. Don't drink cold liquids and eat cold meals. Reduce vata aggression by massaging warm, pure oils into the skin daily to insulate and counteract the outer effects of winter. Don't forget to get regular exercise and fresh air. Practice body-warming yogic asanas such as Surya Namaskar. Enhance the digestive system with yogic calisthenics such as Pawan Muktasana 3, and improve limb circulation and pranic flow with calisthenics yoga Pawan Muktasana 1. Practice warming yogic breath methods such as Kapalbhati pranayama as indicated. Follow Vata nutrition lifestyle and Vata nutrition and lifestyle based on the results of your Vikruti quiz. Now, what about spring? During the spring season, plants are growing quickly and blooming. Days are becoming longer. Heat starts to warm the earth. The birds and bees become active. Animals are breeding and coming out of the winter phase. Energy is moving upward and out. Depending on the geographic location, spring may be windy, foggy, rainy, and cold. There's also a springtime melting effect. Just as the snow-tipped mountains melt and fill the streams, if kapha accumulated during the winter months, spring may fill with melted and flowing kapha congestion and indigestion. You know, that spring cold season? The spring season shift stirs up all sorts of energy, including vata in the body. If vata accumulated in the winter, then one may see vata-related symptoms spring up, like irritable digestion, joint aches, traveling pains, especially in the feet and the legs and the low back, things like sciatica. Vata also mobilizes inspiration for more upward energy flow. So try practicing the following spring guidelines to mitigate kapha and vata during this season. Combine foods that are bitter and astringent with pungent tastes to balance kapha. Incorporate in fresh local bitter greens such as dandelions. Balance healthy fats, sour, salty, and sweet flavors. To reduce vata and kapha aggression, stay warm and insulated. Take nice warm baths or showers. Drink warm water and teas throughout the day. Again, don't drink cold liquids and eat cold meals. Avoid skipping meals. In the springtime, avoid excessive sugars, alcohol, and cold exposure. Springtime is a great season for abhyanga, warm oil marma massage of the body daily. And if you need additional assistance balancing, follow the kapha or vata nutritional and lifestyle guidelines based off of your Prakriti quiz results. Some of the greatest asanas to do during the spring: Surya Namaskar, sun salutations, Pawan Muktasana 1, get everything flowing, moving and circulating. Therapeutic yogic breath techniques for the spring: Kapalbhati to clear everything out, and Nadi Shodhana can be very helpful. Be sure to look at all of the benefits, indications, cautions, and contraindications in their sections. Now, summertime. Summer is marked by rising heat, and that increases the Pitta dosha. It's great for providing warmth. However, too much heat, we know, increases Pitta aggression, and it may cause tissue dehydration, aggressiveness, or depletion from Pitta. This can also cause vata to become agitated. So in the hot seasons, we see a natural increase of the qualities and gunas of tikta, kashaya, katu, known as bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes. During the summer months, digestion is its weakest, so take extra care. Ayurveda recommends in the summertime, minimize or avoid caffeine and alcohol. They're dehydrating. Avoid exhaustion or overexertion. Reduce physical and sexual expenditures. Eat lighter meals that are easier to digest. Eat plenty of fresh, sweet, seasonal fruits. Avoid excessive heat exposure and be careful of hot saunas and steam rooms too. In the food section, avoid foods that cause internal heat in the summertime, such as nightshades, tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplant, white potatoes, chilies, chili peppers, salsa, hot sauce, and also alliums, which are onions, garlic, leeks, shallots. Be careful of that extra spicy food. Stay real well hydrated, and perhaps wear lighter colors, pastels, whites. And if you need extra assistance, follow the Pitta nutrition and lifestyle guidelines, depending on your Vikruti. And if you get overheated, look at the breath technique illustrated in the book called Shitali Yoga Breath, or practice Nadi Shodhana to calm the nervous system and cool off. Summertime is also an important time to consider detoxification and rejuvenation with therapeutic treatments such as nausea, where the herbal oils are poured into the sinus cavities, or abhyanga, marma massage with warm medicated oils. Shirodhara is so good at this season too. It's a warm oil poured over the head to massage and rejuvenate the mind. Last but not least, we have the autumn season. The fall brings cooler temperatures. The animals begin to prepare for winter. This season is when we clean out the gutters, harvest and store crops. Plants often change colors, lose foliage, and encourage the rooting down effect. During the fall season, pitta might still be accumulated from summertime, so continue mindful nutrition and lifestyle to minimize elevated pitta. Depending on one's prakriti and vikruti, vata aggression may begin during the fall due to colder weather or winds. Cut out from your life what's not necessary during this season. Try to conserve energy and start some rejuvenation. Eat your meals by combining food that are warm and moist with some bitter, astringent, and sweet qualities. Do your oil massage on a regular basis to counteract the effects of vata in nature. Remember to reduce physical and sexual expenditures to preserve that energy, preserve ojas, preserve prana. Again, avoid cold and wind exposure. Eat easy to digest foods that soothe and strengthen the body. Autumn is also a wonderful time for Ayurvedic panchakarma, a detoxification process. But again, depending on your prakriti and vikruti, each therapeutic should be customized to your special needs. So stay in balance with all the different seasons. We change as the weather changes. We're not always the same. This section is going to talk about how to manage kapha if it's gotten out of control. In the case of accumulated kapha, Ayurveda recommends the following observances. For food, no snacking, no eating after dark, no eating after 6 p.m., no cold or iced beverages. Only drink warm or hot liquids throughout the day. Eat light, warm, fresh meals. Do not eat until you feel full. Avoid foods that are excessively rich, fatty, or sweet. And eliminate cookies, candies, cakes, sweets, and sugars. Eliminate flour products, breads, noodles, pastries. Reduce or eliminate all meat or animal dairy. Eliminate gum or guar additives. Limit sweet and salty flavors. Get rid of canola oil, all fried foods, fast foods, trans fats. Fats are important, but they must be properly digested and taken in the right qualities and quantities. Try adding spices for teas and cooking. Spices like ginger, black pepper, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and ginger. To get kapha under control, if it's become aggressive, observe the following lifestyle practices. Wake up by 4:30 in the morning. No naps and no sleeping over 8 hours. Get daily movement. Some of the suggested yoga calisthenics are Surya Namaskar, sun salutations, Pawan Muktasana 3, and different poses that encourage kapha loss, like warrior asanas, Kapalbhati pranayama, or Ujjayi pranayama. Those can be found in the yoga section of this book. Practice daily meditation and get out and walk and exercise every day. Subtle therapies that help reduce and manage kapha are aromatherapies such as geranium, ginger, pepper, peppermint, cinnamon, camphor, sage, and clove. Please only use organic food-grade essential oils and avoid exposure to eyes or mucous membranes. Don't consume them unless under special guidance. More ways of controlling kapha. Wear bright colors, reds, vibrant orange, yellow, green. Avoid kapha aggravating colors like dull or muted colors, black, gray, or brown. This section, I will be discussing how to manage pitta when it's become too aggressive or accumulated. First, we have Ayurvedic nutritional observances. To control pitta, avoid alcohol, fermented or sour beverages. Avoid all cold beverages. Limit coffee and caffeine. Avoid deep-fried foods. Avoid raw beets or daikon radish. Avoid sea fish, salmon, sardines, tuna. Avoid excessive sour, pungent, or salty flavors. Limit the amount of cashews or sesame paste or tahini. They're heating. Avoid alliums, onions, garlic, leeks, shallots. Avoid pitta-aggravating substances such as mustard, ketchup, pickles, vinegar, barbecue sauce, and nightshades like chili peppers, tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplant, and white potatoes. Don't eat after dark so that you can maintain a strong, healthy digestive system. And don't overeat and drink excessive fluids with each meal. Eat on a regular, wholesome schedule. And remember, lunch is very important. Try pitta-soothing spices for cooking or teas. Spices such as fennel, licorice, chamomile, cardamom, or coriander. Practice pitta-calming lifestyle observances. Avoid politics, debates, fault-finding, arguments, combat, fighting, or high-pressure stress. Avoid suspense or horror, literature, games, or TV. Spend time silent in shaded, cool nature settings. Maintain regular and adequate sleep patterns. Try to wake by 5:30 in the morning. Try to be asleep by 10 p.m. And you can also practice pitta balancing yoga calisthenics and breath techniques, such as Pawan Muktasana 2, Pawan Muktasana 3, cat poses, snail and caterpillar poses, sun salutations, Surya Namaskar, as well as Ujjayi pranayama, Shitali pranayama, and alternate nostril nadi shodhana pranayama. Daily meditation is very important for soothing pitta as well. And pitta can be further soothed with subtle therapies such as aromas that are calming, cooling, and even floral like fennel, chamomile, rose, lotus, jasmine, sandalwood, lang-lang, lavender, sweet pea flower, vanilla, and vetiver. To further calm pitta, wear soothing colors that reduce heat like whites, soft pastel tones like light pink, light lavender. In addition, pitta aggravation can be reduced by wearing cooling gemstones such as pearl, moonstone, amethyst, and selenite. In this section, I'll be discussing Vata, nutritional and lifestyle guidelines. If Vata has become accumulated or aggressive, observe the following. Ayurvedic nutritional guidelines for aggressive Vata are: avoid cold meals, avoid cold liquids, avoid dry meals, avoid skipping meals, avoid caffeine, coffee, alcohol and carbonation. Avoid sugar, especially white and refined sugar. Limit the amount of bitter, astringent, and pungent flavors. Avoid dehydrated foods, dehydrated fruits. Eliminate raw vegetables and raw salads. Limit cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and kale. Favor cooked vegetables that are steamed, sautéed, or grilled. Limit any sour or unripe fruits, such as green sour apples or grapes. Avoid foods that are dry, like cereal, crackers, chips, rice cakes, popcorn. And don't forget couscous. That can aggravate vata. Favor things like sweet fruits that are juicy and not chilled. Eat nice, balanced portions of fats and proteins and carbohydrates. Avoid binge eating or irregular eating. Eat nice, warm, moist, nutritious, regularly scheduled meals. Try adding in vata-soothing spices for teas and cooking. Spices like turmeric, cumin, ajwain, which are celery seeds, or even cinnamon. Lifestyle observances that will help curb vata aggression. Number 1, avoid cold weather. Avoid windy weather. Avoid drying weather. Seek out warm, mildly humid, and comfortable climates. Avoid walking barefoot or walking on cold surfaces. Avoid excessive social stimulation and stresses. Limit electronic screen time on TV, the phone, or computer. Maintain a good, regular, adequate sleep pattern. Try to get to sleep by like 9:30, and wake by 6. For yoga therapeutics, vata can be balanced very nicely by practicing Pawan Muktasana 1, Pawan Muktasana 2, different digestive poses like cat poses, cobra poses, or Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. Breath practices that are excellent for balancing vata are Nadi Shodhana, Brahmari Pranayama, and gentle Kapalbhati Pranayama, combined with daily meditation to soothe the nervous system. Subtle therapies that can be used to ground and balance vata are aromatherapies such as patchouli, orange, lemon, grapefruit, ginger, cinnamon, and clove. And naturally, we can balance vata by wearing certain colors. So stimulate vata by wearing warm colors like red, orange, yellow, but not too bright and agitating at the same time. In this section, I'm going to discuss Vegas and Avegas. In Ayurveda, there are prescribed Vegas and Avegas, observances essential for maintaining healthy vata and vayus in the body. Vegas are natural urges, and they're not supposed to be suppressed. These Vegas are as follows: urination, defecation, ejaculation, flatulence, passing gas, vomiting, sneezing, yawning, hunger, thirst, crying, and sleeping. Suppression of these natural urges deranges the flow of vata and creates imbalances through physiological functions and the movement of vata. The simple act of unusual suppression or expression of urges is a fast track to disease. Here's a list of each vega and the consequences of improper suppression as described by Ayurveda. Suppression of urination causes dysuria, which is painful urination, incontinence, abdominal distension, bladder and kidney disease, urinary tract infections, and anxiety. Suppression of urination causes headaches due to retention of toxins circulating that are not filtered out by the kidney. In addition, vitamin K and D and calcium are regulated by the kidneys, and there can be problems with suppression. Suppression of the urge to flatulate or pass gas causes abdominal pain, abdominal distension, cramping, and fatigue. Suppression of defecation causes abdominal pain, distension, flatulence, headache, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, hemorrhoids, fistulas, anal fissures, and constipation, as well as calf muscle cramps due to the relationship between the muscle and waste products. Suppression of the urge to ejaculate causes genital pain, pelvic pain, fatigue, prostatitis, benign prostatic hypertrophy known as BPH, prostate cancer, or swollen Bartholin glands. Suppression of the urge to vomit aggravates kapha and pitta, as well as vata, but these held-in toxins produce ama. Then pitta moves through the blood, causing itching, loss of appetite, nausea, black facial pigmentation, sometimes also anemia, swelling, fever, and other skin diseases. Suppression of the urge to sneeze causes neck torsion, headaches, facial paralysis, and weakened sense organs. Suppression of yawning can cause convulsions, numbness, tremors, and rigor. Suppression of the urge to eat, of course, can cause weight loss, weakness, poor complexion, anorexia, and dizziness. Suppressed crying can cause rhinitis, eye and heart disease, anorexia, and dizziness. Suppression of sleep naturally causes yawning and fatigue, as well as visual impairment. And lastly, suppression of the urge to breathe hard after exertion can cause heart disease, tremors, swelling, or delusion. Now there's another type of urge, but it's an avega. These are urges that Ayurveda recommends that we should suppress or heal within us. Avegas are harsh speech, thinking violently, being greedy, grief, fear, vanity, daringness, jealousness, malice, envy, two-faced backbiting, adultery, and theft. In this section, I'm going to discuss rasas and doshas. Rasas are the flavors, the tastes. In Ayurveda, there are 6 rasas, which are the flavors. Each one has a different action and health benefits to the body, tissues, and mind. There are 6 rasas. In Ayurveda, they're called Madura, Amla, Lavana, Katu, Tikta, and Kashaya. Madura is sweet. Amla is sour. Lavana is salty. Katu is pungent. Tikta is bitter, and kashaya is astringent. Sweetness. The flavor of sweetness builds tissues. It cools, moistens, stabilizes, and builds. The rasa, sweetness, is composed of earth and water. Thus it is cooling and grounding. Sweetness and sweet flavors increase the kapha dosha. Naturally, too much sweetness will cause kapha to clog, congest, make mucus, make ama, and infections. The flavor of sweetness imparts the emotional support of love, happiness, bliss, calmness, and comforting. That's why it's usually a comfort food. But in excess, sweetness can cause sloth, greed, lethargy, and excessive sleepiness. Sweet flavors come naturally from fruit, grains, sugar, milk, fennel, dates, coconut, vanilla, honey, cooked carrots, cooked sweet potatoes, tofu, and foods of that nature. Let's look at sour. Sourness accents taste and other flavors. Sourness, known as amla, is composed of earth and fire. Hence it is heating and increases pitta. But its earth nature also aggravates kapha in excessive quantities. Sour flavor stimulates salivation, digestion, peristalsis, bile production, and bowel evacuation. Sour flavor draws in water to moisten, to balance electrolytes and clear channels. But too much sourness will cause thirst, swelling, edema, high blood pressure, and heat. Nice, balanced, sour flavor in your diet will help boost confidence, courage, and enthusiasm. But too much sourness causes irritability, sorrow, and even addictive patterns. Sources of sourness come from sour fruits like green grapes, green apples, yogurt, fermented food, alcohol, lemons, limes, sour cream, pickles, vinegar, mustard, tomatoes, and tamarind. The next rasa is saltiness. Saltiness in Ayurveda is heating. The flavor salty is composed of fire and water. So salty rasa, also known as lavana, increases pitta due to the hot quality, but can also increase kapha due to its water nature. Salt, in a nice balanced quantity and quality, helps clear the tissues and cleanse the tissues. It assists in mineral absorption, moistening of the body. It enhances other flavors, promotes bulk, holds on to fluids in the tissues, promotes digestion, and acts as a laxative, promoting healthy flow of bile. But too much salt in our diet creates sensitivity of teeth, sensitivity in the ears and eyes. Excessive salt dries out mucous membranes, creating blood, heat, and disease, rashes, itching, thirst, acidity, heartburn, ulcers, and dizziness. Mentally, salt qualities create mental sharpness and attentiveness, but in excess, too much salt can cause anger, agitation, criticalness, and mental hyperactivity. Salt can be found in sea vegetables, salt, of course, salty sauces like soy sauce, fast foods, processed foods, and canned foods. The next flavor or rasa is pungent, katu. Pungent qualities are heating. Pungent is composed of fire and air. So pungent rasa therefore can increase pitta and vata. Pungent flavor stimulates metabolism, clears out toxins, clears the channels, helps moisten and warm the body, creating circulation and vasodilation. But excessive quantities of pungent is drying, burning, depleting, damaging, and pitta agitating. Mentally, the katu or pungent rasa promotes enthusiasm, excitement, vitality, vigor, and concentration. But in excess, it can provoke resentment, irritability, aggression, anger, and competitiveness. Examples of pungent foods are chilies, garlic, cayenne, mustard greens, radishes. Now we also have the rasa called tikta. That's bitter. Tikta taste or bitter taste is cooling, composed of air and ether. Pitta is soothed by bitter, but bitter can aggravate vata because it's air and space. Bitter flavors help detoxify tissues, stimulate the nervous system, reduce fat. It inhibits sexual energy. Bitter tastes are an antipyretic. They reduce fevers. They're also anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. Bitter flavors promote the healthy flow of bile. They promote bowel evacuation, and they also act as a diuretic by encouraging urination. However, in excess, too much bitter flavor can provoke nausea, coldness, dizziness, dryness, and emaciation. What does bitter do to the mind? Mentally, bitter brings clarity, introspection, self-awareness, and detachment, but too much will instigate cynicism, unworthiness, and boredom, with isolation and lonely emotions. Examples of bitter foods are dark leafy greens, fenugreek, turmeric, bitter melon, saffron, dill, burdock root, coffee, black tea, eggplant, sesame seeds, and dark chocolate. And the last rasa is astringent. Astringent flavor helps absorb water, tighten tissues, dries out fat, cools excessive heat, reduces inflammation. Astringent flavors vasoconstrict, but in excess, astringency can cause dryness, thirst, spasm, bloating, depletion, constipation, coagulation and clotting problems, and fatigue. Mentally, astringency brings a sense of stability, feeling collected, grounded, but too much will aggravate the vata dosha, bringing insecurity, fear, anxiety, and nervousness. Examples of astringent foods are cinnamon, rye, alfalfa sprouts, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, green beans, lettuce, parsley, nutmeg, and most raw vegetables. I'll now be discussing sections of Part 3 from Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom, starting with yoga philosophy. The origins of the word yoga come from the Sanskrit term yojir, which means to yoke. One definition of yoga is the stilling of the changing states of mind, reaching nirguna. Patanjali Yoga Sutras describe yoga as a union with inner and outer divinity. Yoga seeks to remove the obstructive patterns that have accumulated over years or even lifetimes. Yoga originated in India. It is non-secular but practiced by many religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Yoga was brought to the West in the late 19th century by Swami Vivekananda and popularized as physical calisthenics in the 1970s. Yoga maintains physical health, strengthens the body, improves vitality, but there's been a common misbelief that yoga is only a form of fitness with pretzel-like poses. Yoga is much more. It's a multifaceted lifestyle with 8 branches, multiple philosophies that facilitate self-realization and spiritual development. There's 8 limbs of yoga described in the classical texts, such as the Bhagavad Gita or Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Yoga includes mental, physical, lifestyle, and spiritual practices to create balance and harmony between the body, mind, and soul. Yoga as a whole brings self-mastery, moksha, and self-actualization. There are 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga are the yamas, the niyamas, asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Yamas are ways of reducing conflict. They're observances. And niyamas are also ways of yogic living that reduce negative karma and help perpetuate our acceleration towards spiritual advancement. In the full text, Ayurveda and Yoga Wisdom, there's much more detail of yogic philosophy and practice, but I would like to touch upon the yamas and niyamas. The yamas are 5 yogic abstentions that facilitate harmony and reduce dukkha, suffering. There are 5 yamas. By name in Sanskrit, they are ahimsa, satya, brahmacharya, asteya, and aparigraha. Ahimsa is the practice of non-violence. Satya is the practice of truthfulness. Brahmacharya is the practice of sexual and self-control. Asteya is non-stealing. And aparigraha is non-grasping or non-coveting. All of these help us live a life that is more righteous and dharmic with less karmic consequences and less mental and spiritual disturbances. Then we have 5 other ways to observe our yogic life. These are called niyamas. They are saucha, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya, and ishvara pranadhana. Saucha is cleanliness, cleanliness of the house, cleanliness of the mind, cleanliness of actions, cleanliness of the digestive system and tissues, not just the armpits and things like that. Santosha is contentment, developing a strong relationship to the emotion of gratitude and contentment every day, so that we're not living a lifestyle of lack and greed and need. The third niyama is tapas. It's discipline, self-motivation, creating a life of intention and following through with it. Swadhyaya is a very important process of studying sacred texts and studying one's own self and patterns. This introspection and study serves to bring us closer to uniting with our true self. An inability to learn from self-reflection leads to repeating the same mistake over and over, creating delusion and bondage. Ishvara Pranadhana. This yogic concept is devoting one's life to the fulfillment of your soul's mission and divinity. What is your soul's highest calling? What are you here for? Why are you incarnate? Following yoga philosophies helps bring more ease and grace in these matters. Not only do we follow the philosophies and the yamas and the niyamas, but also the other 8 limbs of yoga to create a healthy body through yoga calisthenics, the poses, the movements. We also move through types of breath work to purify the body and to reprogram the mental circuitry. And then we have very specific practices like pratyahara to withdraw the sense organs, to withdraw inward and rejuvenate and bask in the inner glory of our divine soul. Our later stages of yoga all lead towards concentration and meditation so we can reach that final goal, which is samadhi, union and yoking with our internal soul. In this section, we'll discuss the purusharthas, the 4 aims of life. Yogic and Ayurvedic philosophies state that there are 4 purposes in human life. These 4 life goals are called the purusharthas. They are the principles called dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. These guidelines are practiced in both Ayurveda and yogic philosophies. All people are souls having an earthly human experience. Every person is born with purpose and a human mission. The purpose of every human incarnation is to experience life while learning, evolving, and breaking free from bondage. The purusharthas are 4 aims of human life that, when translated, give us purpose. It is important to frequently assess and realign each of these 4 objectives to have a balanced life trajectory. The first purushartha is dharma. Many believe that dharma is most important foundation to lead towards moksha. Dharma is recognized as a way of living that is synchronized with natural laws, duty, morals, and responsibilities. Dharma is the righteousness or the right useness of this human birth. Obligations may be binding agreements, legal contracts, or vows made with others, or vows made to your own soul. Responsibilities involve social conduct that is reasonable and rational with accountability to others. Righteous living is also synonymous with dharma. exhibiting virtues such as dependability, benevolence, charity, courage, compassion, courtesy, helpfulness, patience, service, and trustworthiness are involved in the overall application of Dharma. The second Purushartha is Artha. We need certain resources to fulfill one's life mission. And these resources may be physiological requirements, safety, social constructs, things like food, shelter, money, wealth, abundance, and blessings. Just make sure that the artha and resources that you're seeking are in alignment with your dharma and not creating more problems and karmic attachments. The third Purushartha is kama, enjoyment, pleasure, passion, fulfillment, happiness, and joy. The pursuit of kama in some can cause derailment, leading to suffering. Some spiritual systems emphasize renunciation of all desires and living without attachment to desires. Kama emphasizes enjoyment of appropriate objects by the five senses of hearing, feeling, seeing, tasting, and smelling, without obsession, addiction, or neurosis. Part of living a beautiful and inspiring life is to find pleasure, but to remain in a state of grace. The fourth Purushartha is moksha. Moksha is synonymous with the concept of enlightenment and liberation. Spiritual liberation has many layers and subtleties. Some philosophies understand moksha as finding ultimate peace and harmony. Moksha can be seen as sukha, or ease, freedom, release from suffering, release from deep driving impressions and forces that cause suffering. Attachment to and desire for sense objects is often considered the root cause of suffering, bondage, and delusion. Enlightenment is sometimes described as the absence of moha, or the absence of addiction and affliction. So how can we live our lives obtaining our life purpose, fulfilling our life path, staying on that righteous trajectory, having enough resources and abundance and blessings, still finding pleasure and passion, fulfillment and inspiration, while at the same time creating liberation, peace, harmony, bliss, and self-realization? Take some time to look at the reflection in the book on the Purusharthas and see what type of adjustments that you would like to make.